A new generation is born every 20 years, and each comes with a new set of technology and social trends. These trends remain prevalent even as new generations are born.
I listened to a lot of 60s music, even though I was like 10 years old. I was listening to Beatles, I was listening to anything that you would be listening to if you were 18 years old and you were in the 1960s.
And my parents played classical music and Tijuana brass. But then I also listened to Beatles. My brothers picked out the music for me because I kind of didn't know anything about it. So ELO, and that's the one I think of.
Some of the things that really appealed to me during that time period were what was called new wave music. It was like punk rock coming from Britain that came to the United States and was very popular at the time. I had a real tight uniform policy at the Catholic school that I went to that included your hair and makeup and things along those lines. So when I could get away with it during the summer, I did have purple hair for a while and what was considered sort of a punk rock cut to the hair.
When I was 10 to 16, I listened to, my dad made me a couple CDs. I loved Avril Lavigne. Complicated, in particular, was one of my favorite songs. I still know all the lyrics to it.
Consider a division is formed between generations as a result of these trends.
My parents essentially disliked all of my music taste. My father in particular had some issues with Prince and considered him to be, in quote, strange from my dad's perspective. I really enjoyed him. I thought his style was outrageously wonderful in that he was willing to go outside the norm and outside binary constraints, as did David Bowie. So they were very much ahead of their time.
Probably weren't exactly thrilled with the music I was listening to.
And the older people in my life were always pretty open to just about everything, and they were never bothered when I would play stuff like that. It was more just a thing for me in my head, where I would sort of regulate the type of music that I would play around them.
Yeah, not a big fan of social media. Not a big fan of the screen time. Super worried for the kids that are really, really, really young and are already on their cell phones and plugged into their screens. And I think it's a problem. And it's not really because, mostly two things. One is that they're not getting outside and they're not getting enough fresh air. And I don't see a lot of the connection between the adults and the kids in their lives. I
would often refrain from playing a lot of like the stuff that was popular with high schoolers around my parents, just because I thought that I felt like it would be awkward for me to listen to some of the music that I was listening to.
Most newer Gen Z people's interviews did not feel disapproved of by their older people in their family. This could be caused by any number of things, from the prevalence of headphones keeping their music taste private to newer technology spreading to older generations. But hopefully this trend of acceptance will continue.